Hello and welcome to Matt's Matters. I'm Matt Gill, I'm your host for this podcast, and today I have with me three very, very special guests. We have Kevin, Dan, and Mike. Kevin, Dan, and Mike are all...
Emphasis on the special.
Okay, alright, you can do your intro now.
Okay. Well, yeah. Go, Dan.
Okay, but I want personality, I want love, I want vibrance.
Welcome back to the third episode of our podcast thingy.
And we've been hijacked by Matthew Gill. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you for being on the podcast. I know it's been like a rough time to get onto the podcast and get this thing going, but we're here, so yeah, let's get this started.
It's going to sound really bitchy, but I feel like Matt Gill just works better.
You think Matt Gill
Matthew Gill just sounds so formal. I don't feel like this is formal. So, my first question for you guys today. What's the name of your podcast?
It's currently the podcast with no name.
Okay, that's quite cool.
It's no name. But
it's literally the podcast with no name.
TPWNN, I like it.
No. You get me wrong. It's literally got no name.
Yes, no.
The name isn't the podcast with no name. It literally.
I'm just saying TPWNN works. I like it.
TP.
It might not be intentional, but it works.
Okay. Well, as you can see, as you can hear, our guest is definitely lively and much. It's going to keep you entertained much better than we did last week, which was an absolute disaster. Right, should we get into the topics then, or a bit more waffling?
You may as well.
Okay. So, the other day I was talking to one of my friends who happens to be a girl, and I was just saying, so what's your fashion style? Like, what type of fashion do you really enjoy? And there were quite interesting things coming out there, things that I wouldn't picture girls to be wearing. So I'd like to ask you guys, let's start with what's your usual fashion? Like, what do you normally wear when you're at home or when you go to work? Or for us, school doesn't count. School clothes don't count, but like when you go and chill with your friends, what do you normally wear?
Okay, no, don't mind.
No, when I'm at home, I just usually chill in like pajamas. Usually have like, if it's summer, I just wear like short pants, short shirts, because it gets really hot here, obviously.
So just
and then when
shorts.
I go, short, they are basically. And then the winter obviously like gets a bit longer. I've started wearing like more hoodies recently, which are actually really nice.
Okay.
I really like hoodies, but when I go out with friends, I don't dress like particularly like fancy. Like I'll probably wear like some more formal pants, but I'll basically
Well, what's
go
a
out
formal pants though?
if you have like black sweatpants and you go out with those, like black sweatpants or like some form of jeans.
Oh, okay. You,
And
Matt?
then- yeah.
I like how you just cut my corpse there.
Yeah. No, he was
Beautiful.
making me fall asleep. Sorry, Mark, but
Ouch.
sorry.
Oh, that's harsh.
Sorry.
Okay, so basically, if you're going to talk about my fashion style, I think you first need to picture me. And I mean, I know Kevin and Mark have seen me, Dan's never seen me, and obviously most of your listeners won't have seen me. Okay, so I'm fat. And I'm that special kind of fat that...
You're not that fat though.
Okay, yeah, Kevin, whatever. But anyway, so I'm that special kind of fat that whenever people come over, and in fact, I'm glad you said that, because it fits right in with the story. The very first thing people will say to me when they see me is, "You've lost so much weight. It's so amazing." Every time. Okay, this has been going on for about 10 years now. If that was actually true, by now I wouldn't exist anymore. I would have like faded away. Okay, so as a fat person, I don't want to wear clothing that's restricting, so I tend to like t-shirts and shorts, basically something that's nice and baggy, gives me freedom. I can move around. I've been struggling for ages because I've had these like normal size t-shirts that when I lift my arms up looks like I'm wearing a tank top, because I'm quite tall. That's why Kevin said I don't look that fat. And I finally found some t-shirts that actually like let me lift my arms up without looking like a 16-year-old teenage girl, and I am delighted about it. So basically, so long as I'm covering my body, I'm good with it.
So you don't really care about like wearing something fancy, like jeans or something, but tight, skinny jeans.
So if I've got skinny jeans, dude, what did I say about my body? But
Come on,
anyway,
Kevin, are you not listening at all?
No, he never listens. But anyway, like the one sort of thing where I sort of dress is I actually like bright colors, and like especially clashing colors. Sort of I like to break all those rules. So I will wear a red shirt with a blue tie or something like that. If I'm going out somewhere.
A red
and
shirt
you know
with
what?
a blue tie.
That's
Yes,
a bit
I will
old.
make the colors clash. It's something I do in the classroom a lot. I'm a teacher. And it's basically, I used to teach maths, and I thought, if the subject's boring, I at least have to be entertaining to look at.
Okay,
and
okay.
that's that really. Yeah,
Okay. What about you, Daniel?
Painted your walls though, like in your house.
yeah.
like-
I like colors. Like, why be
Yeah.
boring? Okay, Dan's fashion sense. Let's hear
Daniel.
it.
Shorts, shirt.
The
Man.
shorts shirt.
Yeah, I don't really wear long clothes. I don't really get hot. So, I mean, sorry, cold.
Yo, he's Irish. We've established this. You don't get cold.
Damn.
You're Irish.
Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe throw in like a jersey or two.
Okay, but like Matt answered my next question is, what would you wear to like a
Although,
party?
just
or
a second. Sorry, Kevin,
Yeah.
before you go there. Just want to comment on what Dan said. I like that. Spoken like a true dude. He's not interested in all this metrosexual bullshit. I'm not going to spend 45 hours like doing my hair and stuff. Give me a pair of shorts. Give me a t-shirt. I'll put it on, and you know what? I'll slay them with my looks. I'll slay them with my personality. I like it.
I like
You have my
okay.
vote of approval, Dan.
In
Very
when you
obvious.
say it like that, respectable, very respectable. But what would you wear if you were trying to impress a girl, for example? If you were out at the club and you're trying to impress a girl, what kind of clothes would you guys be wearing? What
Cold,
did
you
we?
should assume I go outside the house.
I mean, surely you go out the house sometimes.
Do you not know we're in lockdown, Kevin? Have you
No,
been
not
breaking the
during
law the
lockdown.
past?
No,
Okay,
I have not been breaking the law.
I'm just saying,
you-
Kevin. You haven't
Nice
told
trying
us
to
your
cover
clothes
your
yet.
ass, Kevin.
Clothes, Kevin, clothes.
Yeah, but I
tell us.
mean, if you were to go to a club and you had like really like this girl and you wanted to impress her, I'm sure you would wear something like a bit more.
Just didn't answer his question.
You start a Google Hangouts. You put on a nice shirt.
No.
You
Green
don't need
screen.
pants.
You need a green screen behind you so you can like fake a background as if you've got something. Dan can maybe apply a little bit of adjust the light balance, give himself like a little bit of a fake tan.
I don't think it's possible for Dan to like.
Look, if
You
Dan
get a
gets
tan.
like remotely any type of tan, it just doesn't look like Dan anymore.
Look, if you're getting my arm tans, okay? The
I
glove tans
remember-
that.
I remember like Daniel goes on like cycles around. You just go around your state, right?
No, I don't live in an estate. Well, technically,
you go around.
but no, I don't.
Yes.
I go,
Okay.
yeah, more off roads sort of stuff.
All right. Anyway,
What's up?
the one day he didn't put sun cream on. And he came to school and his arms were just red, and like it was so funny because like I'd flick him sometimes, and then he'd be like, "Fuck off."
But you see, here's the thing with Dan is like
red.
he just doesn't tan. He only
No, but
burns.
the thing is, he did. That's the thing.
Did he actually
like-
tan?
Yeah, after he burns and he peeled for however long, he shed it into a new skin, and yeah, he had like the slightest of tans. I
Okay.
was truly shocked. I was like, damn, Daniel's got a tan. 'Cause everyone makes fun of him for how reflective he is, and then he got a
He's
tan.
not reflective. The real phrase is he's see-through. You can
Jesus.
see his organs, dude.
I'm so well to bend like the light, dude.
You know how like prisms bend light into the colors of the rainbow?
Yeah.
Just as Daniel's walking, just a rainbow shining through him. Okay, Matt, you were saying before we rudely interrupted you.
Oh, geez, dude, you can't expect me to remember. I might have been trying to say something like, you chose for some reason to invite a 39-year-old onto your 18-year-old podcast. So you're just going to have to accept that I'm not going to be dressing up to go to a club to impress any girls.
That is okay.
That time has passed me. But if I really have to dress, I don't know. It's the same thing. Like what will every other boring guy do? You put on a pair of like smartish pants. You put in a formalish but not too formal shirt, so you look like decently.
Neat.
What's it? Neat. Open collar, of course. Short sleeve, ideally, and then you just go wander around. And as I said, I rely on personality to carry me.
Okay.
Not my clothes.
Respect.
For those, you guys don't have a personality, so I can understand. Like, you need
Okay.
the clothes.
Yeah, clothes
Okay.
do carry us a little bit.
Sorry.
Clothes do carry us a little bit.
Absolutely. Look, what's the thing? It says that you've got like 3 seconds of meeting someone to make a good first impression, and they've already judged you.
I can, that's relatable. I mean, also, to be fair, half my time I spend without a shirt on because I'm swimming, so it's not like I can
You
have.
just did because you want to, Kevin. Let's get real
That is
here.
true. I did see your Instagram. You do like to show off quite a lot.
No, that's one picture, and that was with the team.
Okay, so you only like to get nude with the boys, okay?
Okay, right.
Exposed.
Moving on before I dig myself a bigger hole.
Kevin, what do you like to wear?
What do
like
I
From
like?
hanging out with the boys, your bigger hole, or what?
Just dig.
Jesus.
Matt. Okay. Anyway,
Oh my
answering
God.
Michael's question. At home, generally, I just wear I've got these nice dry fit shirts that
And then you don't
soak
wear
up
them.
sweat, and I'll put them on, and I'll put on a pair of shorts. Generally, though, if I'm at home, I've got this really nice, like fluffy onesie that I wear. Especially during lockdown, I've been wearing that a lot. This is a big
From which
fluffy
you shout throughout your house. Has everyone drunk water?
No. No. Okay. For those of you who don't know what Michael did, is
What I did. It sounds
wait,
so
what
ominous, bro.
what he said is on Outward Bound, right? When we were hiking through the mountains.
Nobody knows what Outward Bound is.
No one knows.
But we're gonna discuss Outward Bound.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
So,
For those of you who don't know, okay, Outward Bound is this grade 10 camp that the St. Benedict's boys go through, in which it's 5 days or 5 nights, 6 days, where you go to, I don't know what the place was called.
Paris. Paris.
Yeah, it was
It's just Outward Bound Paris.
yeah, but it was dry, it got cold, and you just camp in a tent. And I know we sound like we're complaining, but they don't
We were
feed
suffering.
you. They don't feed you. They actually
From
don't feed
private school boys to living in the bush. It was a hard adjustment, man.
you.
I've never gone, obviously, but I've heard stories of people fighting over food.
No, there
you know,
were.
like
They used
starving
to-
skeletons, like raiding other camps.
I lost
Fights to the death.
3 kilos when I got back,
Yeah, I lost like 3 or 4 as well.
and I don't have many kilos to begin with.
I have
See, I
many.
I should be going on Outward Bound.
Well,
Problem is, you lose those kilos and I find them.
no, you won't find them on Outward Bound. There's no ways. You'll literally sweat it all out. But yeah,
Dude, like the nights were so cold. Like
yeah.
they were
Interestingly,
freezing, and the days were so hot.
I've
Oh
never
my
been in a
God.
place where it's like 35, 36, almost 40 during the day.
Celsius.
Celsius, not Fahrenheit. And you just have to hike, right? And then at night it drop to like -1, -2, and you'd
Degrees
freeze
Celsius.
to death. And I don't know how some place can just fluctuate so dramatically like that.
Sounds a lot like desert weather.
I mean, it basically was.
Was it though?
Which is why, Kevin, if you're ever stuck in the desert, you travel at night, sleep during the day.
Yeah.
Just a handy survival tip if you ever find yourself lost in a desert for some reason.
But I mean, Kevin, to be
I
fair,
do
we
quite a
did-
lot, so that'll help.
Swimming to a gone
We-
badly wrong, maybe.
We did like you and I missed the day
Yeah, we
Of
did miss a day
Outbound.
because we had
because of
pipe
pipe
band
and champ.
champs, yeah. But
So we were lucky.
yeah, but I will
We
say
heard of the
though,
horrors
it
from
was
a distance.
definitely an experience that was quite fun. It was quite fun.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was fun. I just remember one of our classmates just losing it with each other.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
Oh,
Oh,
my
that
word.
was so funny.
And yes, Matt, the fights for food are real because I remember we were sleeping on a field, and you split up into. Had two groups, right, of about 10 to 15, and they'd kind of travel together and stay on the same campsite. And then the other group was complaining, saying to us, guys, watch out because people actually steal your food. Some group stole all of our bread. And I remember sitting there, and then you just see this like shadow or this like dark figure darting across to the center where we kept our food. And then immediately, our entire group pulled out their knives and like their sharpened sticks and just like just confronted the guy. The poor guy, like, yeah,
Hey, bud, what are you doing? Out of here!
get out of here.
Was this before or after the bread was taken?
This was no, our bread wasn't taken. We
Yeah,
defended our bread.
Oh, okay. But you said our bread was stolen. Or
No,
was it some other
someone's-
group said their bread's. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Nice. I'm pleased to hear you're able to.
Everyone
defend
gangs you till your water's stolen.
Who stole water?
yourself. Oh, that'll
I didn't
that'll
hear
kill
that.
you.
No one wanted to steal water though, because the water was like flipping. It was like what, 10 kilograms.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
in those
no,
50-liter chugs, dude.
Yeah, and lugging
jugs, I
that
mean.
was like, that was not fun.
I remember having to like drag that over my back, and I literally like balanced it on my back.
That
While
was,
I
that
was
was not
walking
that
around.
was not 50 liters.
It was, wasn't it?
15.
15. It was
Yeah,
probably
50 liters. You wouldn't be able to lift the flipping
Yeah.
thing.
Wasn't it like a 25-liter bottle? Those big ones, bro.
I just remember we had
Sure.
two 5
That's-
liters.
25
Yeah.
kilograms. It's not gonna happen.
No, we did have a 25. We had those
Yeah.
massive 25 ones.
Yeah, the big ones. The
Yeah.
small
I
ones.
thought it was the 50. That's my bad.
5.
Well,
I
it's
don't know.
50 altogether because we did have 2 of them.
I don't think it was 25.
Okay.
well.
We had a big one. I know that.
Yeah. But I mean, to be honest, I would definitely do it again, but with a group of my choosing,
True.
I
because
feel like it's gonna miss out on something if you don't have people trying to steal your food.
that is true, yes. But
like the bonding there is all through unity through adversity.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
fighting, stealing food, getting your food confiscated.
how do you get your food confiscated?
We weren't allowed to bring snacks technically, but our like advisor was really nice to us, and she was like, "No, you can keep it, just don't litter." And we're like,
Look,
"Alright."
we didn't litter,
Our group didn't litter,
We
but
just
she found
found
litter
litter.
somewhere from one of the other groups.
and she
and then
found
she's
it
like, "No, I'm
underneath
taking
a
it
rock.
back."
Like our group had the brain cells to hide litter underneath a rock. So yeah, no, and then she
All I'm
confiscated our
saying,
food.
my tent mate the entire trip like snored like a motherfucker.
We had Miguel in our group.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. I had you
like,
as a
we
tent
did-
mate,
we did-
didn't I, Michael?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say we never had Miguel as a tent mate.
Yeah.
That must have been horrible. Like people were actually begging to like was Eden with him or not?
I can't remember. But yeah, people were begging to let's not sleep with Miguel. I'd rather sleep in I'd rather sleep 3 guys in a 2-man tent than sleep with Miguel type of thing. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's definitely an experience that bonded us as a grade. And then interestingly, right after our grade, they decided to remove Outward Bound. So now they
Well,
go on
like,
something called
They
Orange
didn't
River.
remove it. But
Well-
it's, made it a lot nicer.
No, they did remove it. It's not.
It's not the same. It's literally a holiday. It's like backpacking trip.
No, I literally went down the Orange River on holiday.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is.
And they didn't have to cook their own food. I mean, look, to be fair, cooking our own food wasn't like the main problem.
Yeah, but you have to carry that food around.
That was the main
Yeah.
problem. But I mean, cooking
We
the
had to
food
like
wasn't
eat
that bad.
like out of like dog bowls.
Yeah, they were dog bowls, weren't they?
Oh, what is the?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of the budget milk we tried to make or like get.
Cremora, dude.
Cremora. That was it, yeah.
Cremora. Oh, that
I
was
hated
something.
it so much.
It's
and
like
it was freezing in the mornings.
I don't know what it is, but it's like powdered milk or something. That's
It's meant
supposed
act
to
as some sort
resemble
of
milk.
powdered milk.
Isn't cremora stuff you put in coffee? It's not actual milk. It's like literally coffee creamer.
Yep.
So I wouldn't use it as. I would not use that as milk. Like if you're
We
trying to
ended
make
up
cereal
using
or
it as
something.
no. They gave it to us as milk. Like they said, if you in the morning you want to eat cereal, put water, cremora, a bit of sugar, and your cereal in. Which we had was like Wheat Bix.
I suppose that makes sense. You know, you're already complaining about the weight of the water. Milk's going to be, well, first it's going to go off, and second it's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
Even if you're taking like long life milk, which tastes disgusting anyway.
You know, long life milk. I was thinking like when I was packing, like, should I just take long life milk? Because, you know, I feel like it might work.
I think it
out.
would have lasted like a day and a half in that heat.
But it's long life milk though.
No, like if it's in the heat, it's cheese.
Yeah.
Dude.
It is supposed to last quite a long time. You know, because it gets ultra pasteurized.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I have to be very boring and talk about ultra pasteurization, but seeing as you've talked about Outward Bound, which I've never been on, that's like the only way I can contribute.
But I mean that's actually quite an interesting point. Like, do you think long life milk will just expire underneath intense heat?
Yes.
Well,
But you see, it's not intense heat like 50-degree heat, like 40-degree and then drop down to like -2.
Still clap your milk.
okay, so the whole thing is that your long life milk, in theory, has got a far lower concentration of any germs in it because it's been ultra pasteurized. That's why it lasts so long at standard temperatures. I don't know how well it does at 35 degrees to 40. I'd have to like look that up.
Should we actually try it one day? I've got like so much long life milk in the house.
What, you're gonna keep it in the oven for like 3 days?
Yeah.
40 degrees.
Keep it in the oven, see if it goes sour. Okay. But I will say though, there were times on Outward Bound where I actually felt like death was going to happen sometime, because we had to do like abseiling and we did climb quite steep mountains. So I was just thinking like, yeah, someone's gonna die. One of these times that rock holding the rope is not gonna be strong enough and it's just gonna roll.
Dude, I'd never put more trust in one person as when they were like, you know, moving us up and down those rocks when we were rock climbing.
Oh yeah.
And yet they had to like feed the rope. That was like,
That was... you know, I actually quite like the way they did it though, because...
I also did, but like I have next to no athletic capability. Right?
I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, okay, so...
No, but I'm saying basically I really struggled to like, rock climb even though like I enjoyed it.
Let me just
But
give a bit of
basically, like,
context first. So, we had this quote unquote challenge, which we had to do literal rock climbing, not like wall climbing in a gym. We were actually climbing on a cliff face, and
It wasn't a challenge, it was just one of the tasks.
task challenge, the same thing.
Activities.
When you're starving, everything's a challenge. So what happened was you'd have your guide who would be at the top with like the main safety rope, but whether or not you fall depends on the bilayer, so the guy at the bottom, who just so happens to be our classmates. So, you know, I would trust the guide, but forcing myself to trust the classmates a bit of, you know, it made me a bit uneasy because...
Like it helps, but as long as they fed it like relatively tight, if you slipped you could get your balance back.
Yeah, but if they didn't, you'd fall 10 meters before that safety rope would catch you.
Yeah,
I was just gonna
that's
say,
it.
there's
If they
absolutely
did
no
that,
way they
like-
took the risk of killing you.
Oh no.
Because like putting a hand in class of a team, a great 10-year-old boy, you're gonna trust him? You're gonna trust? No.
You see,
you've gotta
but
be
it's a
brain
trust of, will you let me fall 10 meters or you're
No,
not
not
going to let
you,
me
not
fall
you.
at all?
dead. Not you. I'm talking about the guards. The guards in the school. Maybe that. If they were doing that, then that's why they cancelled the Outward Bound, because it was too dangerous. Someone's gonna die. I mean, you saw what happened with that Parktown. The Parktown orientation camp for the grade
Yeah.
8s, where if you're not safe, things are
Yeah,
gonna
you
go
have
bad.
big problems then. I mean, I think our swimming tour almost got cancelled because of that. Because they were, water and water. But in our defense, we're actually like qualified swimmers, so I don't know
I
Yeah,
feel
what.
like you should be
certificate.
using life jackets for your
Do you know
training
there was
and competition.
they forced all the prep school boys to have the safety buoys. So when you're swimming the mid-mar, you can have the option to like tie yourself with like this floaty device, and they forced all the prep school boys to tie themselves with a floaty device before they go swim.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Does
Yeah.
that like hold you back though?
Yes,
It's
it
gotta
slows you
provide
down a
some
lot.
drag.
Slows you down a lot. Which I felt really bad because there were a few like national swimmers out there who really wanted to qualify for open water, but because the school forced them to put on safety buoys, they couldn't. I mean, they could. It was much harder too.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. But I mean, speaking of death, I was just wondering the other day with my mom because it was smooth, wasn't it? Because you know my family is a Christian family. I don't know about Matt, but I know Michael's atheist, and so is Daniel. Matt, are you atheist?
I don't know if I feel like. Should I be revealing that? Shouldn't I?
Well, it's
I
up to you. If you don't want to reveal it, that's fine.
No.
But
It'll
I
come
was
through
just-
when we're talking. Come through when
Okay.
we're talking.
I was just wondering, like, you know, for Christians, obviously, after death, there's a chance of going to heaven. In Catholic terms, purgatory or hell. At least there's something after death. And I just wanted to ask, like, as an atheist person, what do you think's after death? Do you
Nothing.
Yeah,
Cool.
nothing.
It's just you're just gone. It's just that's it. It's your one chance. You might as well enjoy it. Because once you're done, it's done.
But
Finished.
what
Nothing
is
there.
that like? You know,
Nothing.
Literally
It's-
nothing.
just nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever gone in for for surgery?
No, not that I remember.
So you've never been like, because if you've ever been like put under anesthetic,
I have,
and
but when I was like 2, so I can't
So you-
remember anything about it.
you don't dream, you don't nothing. That's death. That's it. Like there's nothing of you to experience anything.
Okay. You know, that also leads me to another thing. I was thinking also, can you say that? And I apologize for any Christian people out there, but can you say that religion is just made because humanity can't comprehend death?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think it's also broadly defined meaning.
Yeah,
Okay.
I tend to agree with Daniel there. Like, I don't think it's just because like we can't understand death. There must be some sort of higher power. It's just like the lack of like understanding of how we got where we are. Like someone had to have done this for us, kind of thing.
Okay. Matt?
Like, and there's absolutely value in religion, and it's from that, as Dan like hit on nail on the head there. You know, it's the search for meaning, and it provides a lot of people with fulfillment. Humans in general aren't good at just operating without some kind of guidance. You want to feel that there's a point to something. Like, why am I doing this? Why bother doing that? And basically gives you sort of a goal in life. Like, oh, I'm doing this to prepare myself for the next life. I'm doing this to become closer to God, or whatever, come closer to oh my word, I've just forgotten. What's that? That you get reincarnated, come closer to, not nirvana. Is it nirvana?
I don't know.
You find that where you like sort of you have that sense of state where you're just perfectly in tune with yourself and the universe, and that's like your final cycle. Buddhism, I think.
Buddhism, I think.
Yeah. I forget what the actual term is that you're supposed to come to do, but anyway. So yeah, you get that meaning there, and but I also think it's not just because we don't understand death. It's you might have heard of that saying, the God of the gaps. So and that's saying like, where is there space for God? And that's because if you go back like 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, actually probably longer, when lightning's coming down from the sky, you're like, what is happening? Like, how does
Okay.
that happen? Why does that happen? And so suddenly there's space there for a dude up there to be throwing lightning bolts.
Okay.
As soon as you realize it's friction from water particles rubbing together, and probably air, actually I think it's mainly water, building up static, massive static, huge static things that then discharge. It's as I found out while I was playing, what was that game last night, Mike? Sea of Thieves, and I got struck by lightning 3 times, died 3 times. There's space there for a god, and things like when an eclipse, if you don't understand that the moon's moving in front of the sun or vice versa, you just see there's space there for a god that like eats the moon and then like rebirths it, or
Yeah.
even just things like the cycles of the moon. And then as we discover more and more about the universe, there's like fewer and fewer spaces for God to actually exist.
Okay. That's quite an interesting point to think about. But also,
Which is sorry.
Yep.
Just before I don't want to come like too harsh on religion here. So just before I move on with that, I just want to say, and that's why I think like the Catholic Church is actually quite wise in saying, we're gonna go with science. It's incontrovertible that this stuff happens, and we're gonna make sure that we find a way for, for example, like evolution happens, but it's through God's guidance or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So that's where they found their space. For religion.
Okay. Speaking of religion, is atheism a form of religion? Because how some people have said that Scientology is essentially a form of religion that follows science and purely science. But then
Scientology does not follow science at all.
does it not follow science? Have I got
No,
that
Not
fact
even
wrong?
close. Not. Just be careful though. If you say anything bad about Scientology, they will send assassins to your home.
Oh,
I'm not even joking. Not even joking.
Okay, well, if
Pog
someone
is in
could
chat.
kindly just explain what a Scientology is, because I clearly got my facts
What a
mixed up.
Scientology is.
No, what
Okay.
Scientology is.
I think it
So
deals
there's
with
this-
cosmology and stuff like that. Which is
So-
religion like with space and stuff.
Yeah. Go back to the 1960s. Famous science fiction author L. Ron Hubbard. He did. You might have seen. There was a terrible movie that I can't remember the name of, so I shouldn't even. Okay, I apologize. That was terrible. It was a really terrible movie, though. I loved the books. They were trash as well. I just can't remember the title. That's how trash
Was
they
it
were.
War of the Worlds?
No.
No?
That was the Martian thing. Another fascinating story, but side point. But anyway, so L. Ron Hubbard, super famous author, and he's literally gone on record long before the religion was there. He said the biggest way to scam people and get money is to create a massive cult and just scam people into that. And he created and founded the religion of Scientology. And as Dan said, it's all about I can't remember. There's this big alien deity, specifically alien. I forget its name, and it's out there, and you need to reach higher levels of transcendence until eventually you're completely in tune with him, and you're living the way he wants you to, and then you can go off to like paradise or whatever.
So is Buddhism with an alien?
No, because Buddhism isn't a scam.
Okay, yeah.
Because, like, the way to reach higher levels of Scientology is to send a whole bunch of money to the Church of Scientology.
True.
Right. Well, these assassins
we-
are
we
definitely
have-
gonna come.
There's like a Church of Scientology that's like just by my house, I'm pretty sure.
Michael,
There-
you're
it
gonna
is
die
there.
soon after this.
Yeah.
And L. Ron Hubbard House is like there's a museum to him. It's somewhere near you.
I know that some dude that sells antiques like nearby there, he said he's like associated with them. I think the group's called like Hell's Angels or something as well.
Hell's
Ah,
Angels.
Hell's Angels.
That name is just bad news.
Yeah. No, but
My dad used to play for them in a band.
Okay.
But
Carry on,
yeah,
Mike, carry on.
no, he was basically saying that like a lot of really scary dudes associated with that. And he was basically saying the same thing, that it's like a scam. And when he was talking to my dad, like the whole like situation with like Scientologists, like they're just trying to scam you
Okay.
at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to the main question that started this. Would you say atheism is a form of religion?
No.
Because we need to first work out what a religion is. Right?
So-
It's the belief in something.
if you want to get technical, you could call it a way of life, but that's already stretching it. Like,
okay.
I think it's the belief in something.
the belief in something. Okay.
Yeah, whether that's a
Religion.
higher power or way of life.
Okay. Matt?
So I feel like atheism itself. So if you're talking agnosticism, I'll go with that, because agnosticism is basically just saying I don't know. Could be anything, but I'm not going to commit either way. Whereas atheism is, if you're calling yourself atheist, you're specifically saying I believe there is no God. So it is a belief. And some people, I mean, if you look at the way some people like push atheism like to a huge level, you like go look at Richard Dawkins and stuff. There you could almost say they've created a religion around atheism. Kind of like some people do create a religion around science. you know, I mean, so yeah, I'd say it can be, but like I mean, and like I mean, Mike's never even discussed anything like that, so I wouldn't say he's like made a religion of atheism, or I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, I've never met Dan before ever in my life, so who knows about him? For all I know, he's a super hardcore atheist.
Ginger.
Well,
Okay, so can we say it's kind of like it can be taken both ways?
I mean, I would say no, because it's
I'll-
technically, it's
yeah,
not a
I'll-
belief in something. You're specifically not believing in anything. It's like in a separate category to religion. It denies all religion.
Okay.
I don't
suppose
think
in
you can
so- in
say
some
that
ways-
it's not a belief in something, like, because it is a belief that there is no belief for a religion. But I don't think, personally, I wouldn't call atheism a religion, because, you know,
It's
it's just
yeah.
it's
okay.
the belief. It's like going against every other religion
Okay.
in a sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that yeah. Okay. Anyone want to add on before we move on? No. Okay.
I think better.
Let's leave the heavy stuff behind. And you know.
Okay, all right, I'll be signing off then.
That's what he came with.
But yeah. So,
I
Michael.
was making a fat joke, Dan.
So Michael started a conversation the other day saying that Minecraft is the goat of gaming. Personally,
Absolute
I have
bullshit.
no idea what that means. Matt obviously
Greatest of
disagrees.
all time.
Let me
Tell
let
me
me
you know what the
explain.
word goat means, Kevin. Please tell me you're not that far beyond social.
I'm very far behind. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Greatest of all time.
Okay,
I think it originated from like sort of basketball.
I think so. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of basketball, so I wouldn't know.
I would Google where does goat originate from, but then I feel like I'm gonna
Stereotypically, you're
get...
supposed to watch a lot of basketball.
What do you mean?
Every other Benny's dude I've met who's Chinese has been like a massive basketball fan.
Yeah, but every other Benny's
That is
dude
actually
who's
kinda
Chinese
true.
doesn't swim.
I was just saying stereotypically. Like,
Yeah,
what's
no,
a stereotype,
it's
dude?
fine. It's fine. But really, do you really think so?
What? Yes, yeah, stereotype. It's one of those things that you believe, even though you know it doesn't have any actual basis or anything.
No,
Oh
I'm.
my word, Kevin doesn't know what
No,
stereotype
I know
means
what
either.
stereotype.
I'm
Yeah, no.
seriously thinking I need to email the English department.
It's not the English department's fault. It's just my own fault. I mean, like until like recently, I was calling the disease TB tuberculosis. So, you know.
When you said that to me, like said that in front of me, I was like, huh?
But
What are
no,
you
no,
saying?
You remember how they used to teach us English? They said break down the word into syllables and then say it that way. And when you take,
No, but I was just more shocked that no one ever corrected you, like beforehand.
no one has ever corrected me. They've always laughed at me. I never knew why until like you corrected me.
Because I
You
was
guys are all
dying
rich
of
boys.
laughter.
You don't come into contact with like TB, so I mean it's entirely understandable. You wouldn't know how it's pronounced.
Just imagine Kevin as your doctor one day. You've got a bad
That's
case of tuberculosis. What?
Actually, you know, from the very little I know of Kevin, I think you could make a good doctor. Actually,
No, I'm not saying that it'd make a bad doctor. I just think it'd be funny.
Just imagine.
yeah, look, that would not inspire confidence.
Fair enough, but I think he'd be good at what he like. If he had to be a doctor, he'd be good at what he does.
Okay, I appreciate that.
But anyway, back to the whole
Back to
Minecraft
the
thing.
Yeah, Minecraft thing. What? Okay, so Michael, what makes you say it? What makes you say that it's the greatest of all time
If I'm
game?
being honest, like I don't even know why I said it's the greatest of all time because I don't even play that much. But I was basically speaking from the perspective that like it's been out for like how many years, and it's like consistently been very popular.
Okay.
You know, and like when it first came out, there's obviously like a massive like influx of people who are like, oh my god, this game is like revolutionary, and then like it went to Microsoft and whatever, and like everyone used to complain about the amounts of kids that were like on Minecraft servers and stuff. Then Fortnite hit the field, and everyone was like, wow, all the kids have gone there, and then all of a sudden Minecraft is like popular again. So I don't know, like in a sense, it's like stood the test of time. Not a large
No,
test of time
I
at
understand
that,
what you're saying.
but like for what it is, it still brings like the most uses the most basic of gameplay and brings you the most enjoyment it can, which is very good.
Okay.
And I just don't know. I have a feeling it's one of the best games like out there. Either back then or now. You don't think so?
Don't come with that nonsense. Don't come with that nonsense. You said GOAT. Don't come here now. Don't like pussyfoot around and like nah. You made a bold claim. Justify it. Don't come.
Okay, Matt. Then
Okay,
what
look,
would you say?
it's literally one of the most popular games like out there right now. If you wanna
game of all time.
that too, like Notch made billions off of that game, right? Like millions of people bought that game. It was massively popular back then. It's massively popular now. What's to say that it isn't the GOAT, and it isn't just a really good game?
See that? There we go. That's what I want. Like making it. There we go. So I'd say so. First off, there's a strong contender for some kind of mobile gaming. If you're just going to look at revenue,
Yeah, true.
mobile gaming smashes traditional gaming out of the water.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like Clash of Clans.
It's like,
If I was, yeah. So I was also thinking, like, remember the original Candy Crush?
Oh my word.
You know, I mean, like, how
Jesus.
many people
Oh, yeah.
played Candy Crush? Like, moms played Candy Crush. You know, grandmothers played Candy Crush. You know, so there are probably a good couple of tests where you're writing a test and your teacher was back in the classroom was playing Candy Crush instead of
Is that from
watching what was going on.
experience?
I don't know if I've ever played Candy Crush during the test. But, okay, if
Okay.
I had to pick a GOAT of gaming, I don't know if I could. Like, oh, but geez, I'd honestly go on this massive nerdy. I could do a whole podcast on like history of gaming and like standout games that just changed things. I mean, like, there's a strong, like, massive contender in Doom, the original Doom.
fair enough.
Revolutionized gaming. You know, when they first brought in that proper, like, full and 3D gaming where you could like sort of look around with the mouse, smooth, like fast, smooth gameplay. I mean, that's where the entire FPS genre, evolution there from Doom.
But couldn't you say that Minecraft revolutionized survival gaming?
No, you could. No, I'm just saying that there's a lot of things there. But if I had to pick, so I'm gonna say League of Legends.
League of Legends.
Yes.
Does esports potential make a game?
I'm not even talking esports potential. It's consistently been the most viewed game. Like every now and again, a new game will release, and they'll like overtake it, say on Twitch viewers, for example, and then League of Legends will just reclaim its position right at the top. None of you guys played, obviously, so you're gonna dismiss it, which is fine. I mean, who's gonna listen to a podcast about 4 people agreeing with each other? It would be lame. But yeah, it's like that. Like that. That was, you know, the MOBA. They basically stole the MOBA genre away from Dota, and you know, then like hung on to it with an iron grip. Like, there's been so many games that have been released and saying, well, this is the League of Legends killer. Like, I remember what's that horrible game you used to like playing, Mark? Overwatch. That's it. Like, I remember that Overwatch
Shade.
was Overwatch, like, sort of overtook League in popularity briefly, and it was like, oh, it's the League killer, and League's just like, yeah, fine, have your moment in the sun, and then they're back. So that,
Yeah, I've
that's
always
if I-
noticed-
yeah. So if I have to pick some multiplayer bullshit, the cancerous, toxic game, then yeah, fine, League of Legends. Otherwise, Civilization 2 specifically. That's my personal GOAT. Yeah,
Okay.
that is the game I've probably played the most ever. That was back when, you know, I was still a kid. You know, I didn't have a job, so you couldn't buy lots of games. I played so much Civilization 2.
Okay. Daniel, what would your GOAT be?
Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
But specifically Counter-Strike Global Offensive or Counter-Strike as a whole?
Yeah, I've never played any other Counter-Strike.
You never played CS 1.6?
No, or Source, no.
Okay.
I used to play CS 1.6, but I never played it like properly competitively or anything.
I don't
I
know, I
just
feel
play,
like
like-
CSGO is just... You can't say CSGO is a GOAT. You can say CS. Like the whole...
I could still say CSGO as a GOAT.
Yes, yeah, I guess.
I mean, personally for me, it was practically one of the first games I played when I first built my computer, and it's the game that I've consistently played since then.
Okay. What about
But-
like publicly though?
Well, publicly, like it's still growing. It's reaching new like concurrent players like every day practically. It's past Dota 2's all-time player level like yesterday or something like that.
Okay.
And Fnatic just won the ESL Championship, so I'm quite happy to go with CS:GO. I'll happily support anything Fnatic does.
Okay. Moving on. Talking about
Your goats.
my
your
goat. Oh, gosh, you probably would. None of you guys would agree with my goat.
I'm looking
Red
back.
Alert.
I'm look-
Red Alert 2.
Red Alert. Okay. RTSs were good. They were good.
Because Red Alert 2 was probably the one game that like pretty much made RTS so popular.
Sorry.
Because
I think you should.
I don't think that, like, do you think Red Alert? I think StarCraft is more of the one.
No,
that-
no. The first Command and Conquer was the one that started RTSs.
yeah, but
Star-
like not a lot of
yeah.
people who played
in
it.
terms of popularizing, though.
The first Command and Conquer. Are you insane? That's what catapulted Westwood Studios to fame.
Yeah, no. It's been Red Alert for me. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
So Red Alert for me.
That's fine. You weren't alive when Command and Conquer was released, so
Yeah.
I understand. You wouldn't.
Also, you see, a Red Alert, and this is like quite a big significance to me, is my parents used to play Red Alert. And looking at my parents now, if they played a game back then that happened to be a game that like is quite popular, then it must have been damn popular because these people who I live with do not play video games at all. I mean, it's like taking Michael Phelps, who we don't know is a gamer, to be fair, but it's like taking the stereotypical Michael Phelps and saying, what game did you play as a child? And he said Red Alert. That's got to tell you something.
I feel like your parents thing takes us nicely back to Candy Crush.
They never played Candy Crush, that's the thing. They hate Candy. They like looked at it one time. I was like, do you want to play this game? They said, no, it's terrible. And I was like,
My
"Okay."
mom and dad were also of like a similar mindset. My mom was like, eh, and my dad was like, he was still using like a little brick phone. You know, like Samsung actually came out with like a, you know, the like stereotypical Nokia phone
Mhm.
that was like the brick that couldn't be broken.
Oh yeah. I
Samsung
remember.
came out with a version of that like a while ago, and he used that thing for years, and it was garbage. And like, he'd be like, I don't care like what it is. It's like tough, and it's what I need for my job, which completely fair because he's a mechanic, you know. And like, his phone's gonna be dropped around and stuff. To prove his point, he'd literally chuck his phone across the house and be like, "Go pick it up now and tell me it's broken. It won't be, I promise." And I'll be like, "You're crazy, dude."
That's because your phone's an entertainment device and his is a tool.
There we go.
So you want the absolute best entertainment, and he wants the best like quality, like reliability.
I
But
mean,
I
my
mean-
phone's turned into like a hybrid
Yeah.
because obviously I use it for school now.
yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
I'm still-
another
you,
thing. You can't
you still do
exactly
it primarily
use...
as entertainment.
Yeah, YouTube has been
True,
amazing.
but I mean, you
But also
can't
that
exactly
WhatsApp,
use...
Snapchat, chatting to girls, all the rest of it. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my word,
What's up, all that?
we wish we could be chatting
Like,
to girls.
I'm just saying, you're going to care about like the fact that like what quality photos can I take, what photos can I put on my Instagram, whereas your dad's going to just be like, I want to make sure my phone doesn't. I don't want to buy another phone. I want to use
But
this one. I know it works.
That's why he shifted up to like a better Samsung, because he wanted like better photo quality, which he doesn't have anymore because for the exact reason that he didn't want to get a touch screen. You know.
It broke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael
It didn't
Phelps plays
break.
Call of Duty, by the way, so that knocks your red alert argument right out of the water.
Wait, Michael's?
Michael
Phelps.
Phelps plays Call of Duty.
I remember that ad. That was a funny ad though. But okay,
So,
there's another
While
thing.
we're talking, just while we're
Yep.
talking parents and games, with my dad it was Pac-Man. And I think he was only happy to play Pac-Man with me as long as he could do better than me. So that ended rather soon, but obviously he was working, had a job. I didn't. So. But yeah, those are honestly some of my like fondest memories from like growing up as a child. Was like playing Pac-Man, against my dad. We'd take turns, and who could get the highest score.
You remember when Spur used to have like an arcade area for the kids? Like it would be an actual arcade machine. Yeah, but now they have They have PS4s now. But I'm saying like back then when they had actual arcade machines.
No, when I was small, like they'd still have like PS2s and stuff, and they'd like started upgrading to PS3s like when I was like 11, 12.
I
remember going to like one or two, maybe.
At the Spur we always went to, there was always an arcade, like 2 arcade machines just sitting there. And I remember playing Street Fighter with my dad. Yeah. And you could cheese
my dad and I usually play like some form of racing game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to GOAT, you see, personally though, if you were talking on popularity and like how well is the name known, I'd have to go with Call of Duty, because who does not know what Call of Duty is?
But I don't think you can say that Call of Duty...
Horribly mispronouncing League of Legends. Horribly, dude. Like, I thought your tuberculosis was bad.
I don't think you can say that Call of Duty is that, because yeah, sure, it's like popular, but it doesn't have the best name to it.
I mean, to be fair, it is like, considering how much people play it on consoles and PC, it is... And how long it's lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I don't think you can say it's like the GOAT of gaming, because a lot of people have properly hated that game. Especially when they went with... What was like the 2014 releases? They went like Black Ops 3 and then like a few releases after that, people were just like, nah.
Okay, Infinity War, I think. Infinite Warfare or something.
Give a second.
It was the one when they went into space, I remember that. But like, also there's the thing that, yes, it has bad connotations to it, but even bad connotations, people still know what that game is. And if you ask what like Call of Duty is about, they will be able to tell you it's a first-person shooter, and it's America's fantasy dream of a one-man army who just mows through enemy soldiers. But they can tell you that. So that, to me, is what makes it a GOAT. Personally, though, I don't like the game. But on popularity-wise, I'm going with Call of Duty.
Well, it's nice to know that you did zero research before the podcast, so...
Okay, I did do no research. I did a few research. I did some research. I tried.
I'm just saying, based on that statement, it's like everyone who listens to this podcast is just going to know. Yep, no research.
No, I have a feeling, right, that if you go to just a random bloke on the street and you ask what Call of Duty is, they will know what Call of Duty is. But if you go onto a random person in the street and you go, what is League of Legends? The chances of them actually know what League of Legends is not as high. I mean, I know kids at my school who know what Call of Duty is, but who have no idea that League of Legends even exists.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna call him
like, why are you being so racist?
What?
Why are you being so racist?
Me?
Yes.
What did I say? I didn't say anything racist.
Like, the biggest game in China is League of Legends, absolutely by far. If you go to the PC bangs there, actually wait, that's more a Korean thing. But anyway, you go to the places where you can play games in China, and you absolutely League of Legends by far. And so your average Chinese person is far more likely to know what League of Legends is, and you're just overlooking them. Why are you so racist against Chinese people?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just saying, Chinese people on people, and Kevin.
No, I never said Chinese people.
In this,
if I did say Chinese people on people, that would be kind of saying that I'm not a person.
Yes or no? Why do you think I was bringing it up, dude?
Oh my word. But I mean,
I'm just saying I wouldn't throw that out there if you weren't actually Chinese, because
Yeah,
that would
no,
just
that's
lead
fine.
the conversation in a horrible path. Yeah.
But okay, I guess you could say like, a lot of the Asian countries would recognize League of Legends more than Call of Duty. But also, when I go back to China and ask, oh, do you know what Call of Duty is? They still know what Call of Duty is.
Why are you going to random people in China? Not what
No, because my cousin and my uncles are big gamers, and I keep asking them like, what's the main game back there? What kind of games are you guys playing there?
I feel like that if you're talking about a gamer, your a big gamer will know like all the big games.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
true.
I've never owned a console in my life. And I can tell you about like Halo. I mean, I know it's on PC now, but I can tell you about all the big console titles. Just but you live in that culture.
Okay.
But Matt makes a valid point that
He
like
does make a valid
wait, you don't even know what my valid point is.
Oh, not bad. Was I not supposed to jump in? Okay.
No, in that like obviously some games will be way more popular in certain regions. Like League will be far more popular in China than Call of Duty would be.
Yeah.
So then, how would you quantify that Call of Duty is like still the goat of gaming? If a lot of people in say America know it, but not a lot of people in China know it.
But then you could also say that a lot of people in America don't know League, and a lot of people in
But
America
that's-
do know Call of Duty.
And doesn't League have like a really big, like North American market, Matt?
They do. I wouldn't call it massive. Look, it's big. It's probably not the biggest. Like I think competitive-wise, I forget, but they're probably more CS:GO. If you're going to talk about like watching viewership stats, I think America watches more CS:GO than League. But
Okay.
yeah, I have no idea about Call of Duty.
Okay. Moving from the best of gaming, in our opinion, what would be the worst of gaming?
League of
Because-
Legends.
Okay. Do you wanna explain that?
Wins
Because I was
both
talking
categories.
about toxic cancer bullshit. And although I feel like that's most multiplayer games. In fact, they can be the best experience, or the kind of experience where everyone finishes a match and just leaves the Discord immediately.
Yeah.
No one even
I
says goodbye.
But like, looking at something like, I suppose it depends on the type of game, but Star Citizen has one of the nicest communities I've ever come across in my life. Like, they're so like helpful and friendly. Like,
If only the game could run.
the game can run, Daniel.
Right.
You wouldn't know
Okay,
because you haven't played a free flyer.
Doesn't the game have to exist for it to count as like best or worst game?
It does exist. I'm not saying it's the best game, or like, I was talking about the community because you're saying like, League's community is pretty toxic.
Oh no! I was just saying no. The game's toxic. The community's not bad. The game's toxic.
How
Okay.
can a game be toxic though?
No, I'm just saying, like the actual experience itself. Like even if you're not interacting with the enemy team at all, like your own team, like 5 friends playing together, you can just get super tilted.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Fair
I
enough.
think,
I
like-
mean, have you seen Daniel playing CS? Like,
Man gets tilted sometimes, not gonna lie.
I'm not the one who gets the most tilted out of our friend group.
True.
who would you say is?
Let's not do the name drops, okay, Michael?
feel like-
Let's not make name drops.
I feel like no, like if they're not here to defend themselves, like I feel like if you're gonna say Mark gets the most tilted, that's fine because you can defend yourself. But
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah.
But that's completely false, so you can't say that. No.
Otherwise, worst game. I've played some like terrible games. Wait. Oh no.
I think one of the worst games I've played has to be Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2. Like,
What?
so like when I played it, I had like a lot of fun the first time because I was kind of just like playing it. It's like a hack and slash game. You can have a lot of fun because you become like really OP. But in terms of like it being a Star Wars story and what it was trying to follow from, it's trash. Completely garbage as a Star Wars story, and like trying to follow up on the first Force Unleashed. It's just
But does that make it a bad
God
game
knows.
though? Because if you said the gameplay is kind of fun, just the story can. is a bit
they
lacking.
stuck the game together in something like 9 months. They copy pasted almost every single level, and like they had probably between 6 to 10 different no, not even, like 6 to 7 different enemy types that you'd fight, and then they just reskin them maybe depending on the map you're on.
Okay. But
The
you
only thing in my mind, the only thing that made that game fun was the fact that it was hack and slash.
you could just like go through everything.
Yeah, like because obviously like Star Killer's like Mr. Super OP with lightning and
Yeah.
whatever. It just
But if
it is
you
funny
go-
in terms
if-
of that. But
Yeah.
once you get tired of that, there's literally barely any game to play. It's
Okay.
bare bones.
Okay. But if you go on like the idea that if the story is bad, I think I'd have to go with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because honestly, that game was a
I haven't
money
played it, so I
grab.
wouldn't know.
It was just a money grab.
Like every other Assassin's Creed.
True.
But the story of Assassin's Creed generally is quite nice.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
I've been trying to finish Unity recently. I'm struggling to get into it though, I have to admit.
yeah, it's the same as
The
me and Watch
character-
Dogs.
The character made a really dumb choice, and I'm kind of hesitant to play it again. Because he was doing something in some like church or some part of a church, and he was like, I need to burn it down. But while he was in it, so then he chucked like a lantern like down. It set all like the hay on fire or whatever was on the bottom on fire. And then the thing started collapsing on top of him, and I was like, you dumbass. What are you doing? Why didn't you like wait until you got to the top or something, or at least like you had a clear path? But no, he chucked it first, waited for it to start burning, then he started running, and I was like, bruh.
I feel like that's actually quite good storytelling. That's that thing, where they try to merge the story with gameplay. Because that's absolutely something people would do if they were playing the game.
Yeah, fair enough.
You play the. Oh, no, it wasn't a valid point.
Yeah,
Just think, like, talking that. Don't you hate cutscenes? Where like something where you've been butchering through like troops, like you've just taken on 300 troops at once. Cutscene comes and like 3 guys come with guns, and suddenly you surrender, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
300 of these guys.
That's true.
did you ever play those old games, the Shenmue games, Matt? Did you ever play any of the Shenmues?
No, the console game, but I've heard about them.
Because 1 and 2 released like within 2 years of each other, and Shenmue 3 released like this year, right? And I watched a YouTuber like post a video on it, and it looked like complete ass. The graphics were like sort of better, but there was literally a cutscene to move a chair. Like you'd use some camera mechanic. It would have like a prompt or like a circle thing that would go around an object you had to move, and then you'd press the interact button to move it. It would load into a cutscene. Your character would move the chair, and then it would go back into gameplay.
That sounds amazing and not frustrating at all.
I will say though,
And the dialogue was terrible too.
I will say there are some games though that I think have better stories than most movies nowadays.
It's the only reason I'll either play a game because all my friends are playing it, or I want a solid story. I want something that's going to move me.
Have you played Uncharted?
I think,
No.
Uncharted, I think, has got a great story.
but I think it's partly because like games something like God of War, for example, the new God of War that was released in 2018, have like 80 hours worth of story, whereas movies have 3 hours to convey everything.
Yeah, but 80 hours, that's including gameplay. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm bored, I would just go online and search cutscenes. So, Resident Evil 3 cutscene. And I think it's quite fun just to watch the cutscenes. Or is that just me?
Actually, but I actually feel like Mark, trying to tell a story over 80 hours is actually much harder than trying to tell it over 3 hours.
I mean, it depends, because it's either trying to put a lot of stuff all in one. Because if you look at something like Avengers or Endgame, that's like everything that they've built up over the past decade, like amalgamates into like one thing. It's what they've built up to, So that's like well over however many hours.
I think you'd have to I think you'd actually have to argue quite hard there to try and convince me that the movie needed more time, though.
What, Endgame?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it needed more time.
Yeah. So no, but I'm just saying there that you're 80 hours versus 3 hours. Like I actually think it's harder to tell an engaging story over 80 hours.
I think it's difficult to keep up the pacing. But like you have more time to like explain things and like get the character or get the player like used to the game. Obviously, you have to do that as part of like the game. You have to get it like your like, player used to the game and stuff, I suppose. But I don't know.
It's kind of related. She has an interesting. I think it's so far I've seen it's been a generational thing. What are your guys' opinions on the game Spore?
Spore.
I love that game.
Oh,
Bro, I
Spore.
played that so much as a child.
Look, I didn't have a PC when I was a child, so it's sad. But I've heard of it, and I definitely watched a lot of gameplay on it.
Because
That game.
so as an older person, and this is by no means like a unique opinion I have. I was actually going to say it, I was going to throw it out as a controversial pick for worst game of all time. The reason for that, and the reason Mark's laughing, was he was like, "What? It was such a great game," is because it was built up as this life-changing game type thing, where you're going to be able to evolve from like single cellular organism all the way through to like taking over the galaxy in this one sort of continuous thing. And all your decisions would have consequence, and like you'd evolve your character, so you'd build longer limbs that would let you like move faster and stuff. And it's built hopped up as this super like complex procedural thing that was going to be incredibly in depth and amazing. And what we got was actually quite shallow, and so
Eat a couple things, click a button.
yeah. So like going from like what it was built up to what we got in the end, I was just like, no, what the hell is this trash?
I mean,
never even bothered.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, he does.
But as I say, generational thing, because every person I've known who's been younger, who wasn't around for the build-up or the hype, has said Spore is amazing. I love the game.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because like I never watched like the trailers and like saying like because I was also really young like when we got it, and I never saw them saying like, oh, it's gonna be this, this, and this, and like it wasn't that, and that. So like Alex just got Spore one day, and I was like, oh my god, this game is amazing. I love this. And then we'd create like creatures, and then sometimes we'd try and model it after our animals and stuff. And I don't know, the game was just really cool. It was still like, I suppose you could still say it was like innovative. I wouldn't say innovative, but it was still like a good game. Like you could still have fun with, just not as much as you could have, I suppose.
I'm saying it's just an excellent example of how hype can kill a game. So everyone is around for the hype. I mean, like that I've ever spoken to, like just it's a terrible game. Like, and then suddenly I've noticed, because I teach kids, so you end up chatting to kids. That Spore is now suddenly this amazing. It's kind of like Justin Bieber. Like, you go back 10, 15 years ago, no guy ever, I don't know when he started singing, it would be suicide to say you liked a Justin Bieber song or whatever. Whereas nowadays, he's actually quite cool. No.
I still don't like him that much personally.
I
But his
don't
music
listen
has
to
gotten
his-
better, I will admit.
I don't listen to him. But yeah. So unfortunately, that's gonna have to come to the end of this episode of the podcast. I hope you had fun with us, Matt. And
No, not at all.
Nope. Okay.
He hates us.
I'm
If
kidding.
you agree with any of the stuff that we said or disagree with any of the stuff that we said, please feel free to write it down in the comments. Tell us what you think. And if there are any topics that you want us to tackle next week, put it down in the comments. We'll make sure to go over those. And if you want to subscribe, go ahead, subscribe. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you hated it. All up to you. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Please tell Kevin how trash his opinions are.
You can do that too.